the question will never be a problem. The problem is the answer. It all lies in how you answer the question. But the question must be asked. It doesn't matter how comfortable or uncomfortable the question may be, but answer the question. So I was being like you. I was being youth. And being youth means you must not apologize.
My price today. Niggas been thinking for ice today. Never been thinking for price today. Let me season me. I cannot think about scrutiny. I make my flame of my business. I'm a brand of my business. Let me season me. I cannot think about scrutiny. I make my flame of my business. I'm a brand of my business. I don't smoke.
Students have been in the lockerheads with NSFAS. So today I'm with the Treasurer of Csrc in TUT Soshanguve Campus, Talifhani. Greetings, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, my brother. How are you?
I'm jumping on the tennis ball. We're recording this on the 23rd and on the 19th of February. Is it 19? Yeah, on the 19th of February of April. Probably Jesus by tomorrow if we are awake when this video comes out.
That's another story for another day.
Speaking about awake, man, we had an issue here in TUT Soshanguve in regards to 2025 registration whereby students couldn't register because they own the institutions. In your caliber or in your office as Csrc Treasurer, tell me a lot more about the achievement or the failures that you faced in regards to this registration of 2025 in TUT Soshanguve.
Man, I have to say that when you are dealing with outstanding fees and students failing to register because of those fees, it's quite an issue that even the institution is involved in. There is a lot of transparency problems, just also in touching even on the financial aid office, you understand? So what we came out with as the SRC, but I will speak of my office, right? The last engagement that I had with the interim HOD of the finance office, the last engagement that we had was to say this notion of students releasing 10%, it shouldn't be a must, because remember, that thing, it's not even in our policy as TUT. It's not there. So where do they get this thing?
So if you say 10%? It's not must be a must, you mean to say the registration fees must be scrapped out?
I don't think they would agree to that, but the common ground that I wanted us to reach was to say 10% to some of the students is a lot. So let students register due to the flexibility of their pockets, not to say 10%. Imagine if you're owing 200,000, then they say 10%. That's about 20,000. Where will you get that as a black suffering South African student? So
if you say that I must register according to my pocket, you mean to say even if I can come with 50 rand or 100 rand, I can still be able to register?
Definitely. It has to be like that, my brother. It has to be like that. And it passed, right? It passed that notion. I even addressed students outside the door of finance, telling them the engagement that we had and the agreement that we had with the finance office to say most of these students, they don't have the money that you're talking about. So what should they do? Should they go back to their homes where they are suffering, whereas they can just release what they have so that they can better their backgrounds? That is the the resolutions that we took with the finance office in order to resolve all of these things.
We had an ISRC trust fund that we disposed in January. How did it assist as well?
I have to say that it came handy. It came handy, that trust fund, due to the fact that there was a number of students that it did assisted, but it didn't assist all affected students. You understand? There are some of the students that some of us as SRC members, personally, I know a lot of students that I have assisted with money in my pocket due to the fact that that trust fund didn't cater for all. Though it did assist some of the students. So I would say
in Soshanguve precisely.
Definitely.
How many students were assisted?
The students, the last list that I saw was 200 and something students. That's the last list that I saw. I don't know if they updated the list or they added some, but the last list that I saw was up to 200 students. So you can see that the ISRC has tried to source out funds so that these affected students can be assisted in that regard.
What was the criteria used for those students to be assisted by ISRC Trust Fund?
Number one, you had to register, right? More like applying. You had to apply and state out reasons on why are you financially excluded. Then the list had to be sent. Then when you submit the form, it had to go to the ISRC. So when it goes to the ISRC, then they have to some sort of compile those things. When they compile these things, they send back the list to say these are people that deserve to be financially included due to their financial exclusion. And so they send that thing to the finance office, the HOD. When they send that thing, then they uplift the block. And to the shocking part of it is that most of all of these students, it's 4,000 that has been paid. You understand? And most of them are owing 100,000. Can you tell me that that's 10%? It's not 10%. Why is it that when the ISRC has to unleash money, it has to be 4,000 that unblocks people? But if you go without the assistance of the ISRC, they tell you about 10%. So you can see that there is an administrative or administration problems in the People's University, wherein even us as the SRC of campuses, who are very much confused to say, how is this institution doing things? And most of the times when students come with these questions, even you yourself, you don't even know what to answer, because the institution is poor in terms of communication and effective exchange of ideas and plans that has to do with the institution.
The application that you're talking about for ISRC, it is said that it was open for a day. So were students able enough to have enough time to register for this application? Yeah, ISRC Trust Fund.
It was never, my brother. I will tell you the truth. Most of the times I was the one who was dealing with those things. The day was never, ever, ever enough, my brother. It was even shocking, even when it came to my attention, that you find that, I think it was not even 100 students that, that registered or applied for that thing. But when the list came back, it was to my shock that it's 200 and something, whereas that thing closed without reaching even 100. So what I can tell you, my brother, is that TUT has got its own way of doing things, which even the student representatives are not aware of it. Most of the stories, we just hear them on the streets. So say, hey, this is true. What is happening? So those are things that we are dealing with in the People's University, that you get information in the street and you get shocked as a student representative council to say, are we supposed to be briefed about these things? So those are kind of dynamics that we are dealing with.
Two questions, then we move on from the issue of trust fund. I want to understand the fact, Guti, which levels were able to be monetized into this situation of being part of the TUT Trust Fund, the ISRC Trust Fund? Is it those ones who are doing level 2 or those ones who already graduated?
No, it was not. The Trust Fund purpose was not aimed at a certain level. It was for all. You understand? It was for all. Everyone had to apply for trust funds so that they can be financially included. You understand? So it was never limited to a group. It was for all.
So the last question about the trust fund is, It is said that Motipo allegedly wrote or released a statement saying that he will not fund TUT this year in regards to misplacement of funds in TUT. Maybe it could include corruption allegedly and so forth and so forth. What's your take on that?
I will be honest with you, Wenali, to say when the man unleashed that trust fund to the People's University and other universities at large, his aim was to assist those who are financially disadvantaged. And he then released a message to say, if I can hear that there is a transparency problem and money is poorly handled, I'm going to withdraw. So my suggestion or my view on this thing is that to say, I understand the man, because it was on his heart to assist students. Now he hears that no, the money that he released, people are putting hands on it and they are putting it in their pockets. What was the man supposed to do? It means what the money was purposed to do, it's no longer doing. Hence the man had to withdraw the money to say no, this money is not assisting students. People are putting their hands on it. People are using it to enhance their selfish desires and to make their pockets to be swollen because of it.
So basically there's corruption in TUT?
Definitely.
By who? By the management or the representatives?
Well, Wenali, I can't say the management, because if I can say the management, I will be doing some of the people not justice, due to the fact that you are talking about the management in their entirety. But there is individuals. Those individuals always want to source out something in anything that comes in the institution. You understand? So that is the problem that we have, is to say TUT has money and TUT is funded, but money is not properly managed. It's not properly disbursed due to these comrades who are always wanting to put hands on everything that comes out. So I agree with you to say there is corruption. There's corruption, and it's not even in the management. It's also in most of these elected leaders, wherein you can find a person robbing a student in the name of assisting them and not deliver anything. So that is the problem that we're facing.
One of the problems also that the country is facing, not basically in TUT, is the issue of NSFAS. So the minister just released a statement or just released a budget speech saying that NSFAS will be deposited in regards to allocations of funds. There will be 55.4 billion rands. What's your take on that? What is it that maybe you can think or that evolution can transpire into in regards to what that money would do in regards to students? Is it because one of the presidents, national president called Kiamogeto Masika, once alluded that money should also include mental health, should include accommodation, should also include anything that has to do with the curriculum of students. What's your take on that?
I have to say the government has been playing a pivotal role in terms of the disbursement of funds, so that the majority of students in the Republic of South Africa have to be catered for. And I think that's one of the things that we have to applaud them on, because we see the work, you understand. However, corruption, my brother, corruption, the money doesn't reach to where it's supposed to reach. Somewhere, somehow, the money loses fuel, and by the time it has to be refilled, it's too late. Most of the students are gone home. Most of the students are affected. So I can assure you one thing, my brother, that one of the things that we call for, and I personally have seen, it's a general briefing on how these funds are disbursed. And I will tell you why. Because there are students who are owing hundreds of thousands today, and that is not even the fault of them. It's the fault of NSFAS. And most of the times it's not even the fault of NSFAS, it's the fault of the management. Because if a student, I have issues here, that I have inquiries that I've received a lot of inquiries, and I have followed, and they are being successful. wherein a student has been funded, for an example, from 2021 and 2022, but their fees are not erased. When they call NSFAS, they ask to say, why are my fees not erased? They say, no, we have sent funds and we've allocated funds that your fees can be erased. It means the problem is in who? It's not in NSFAS, it's in the financial aid. So I can assure you, my brother, that money has been released, but the money that has been released with the intentions to cater for all is being compromised due to the fact that on the way it loses fuel. So I agree with the statement of the man Kemugetsu to say this money should also be purposed, to deal with mental wellness and all of that. And it's happening indeed, but it's not happening, and it's not in covering all of these fears. Because if you can look at the money that is being allocated to the NSFAS, you can tell that this money, how in as much as it can be a lot,
Julius Speaking about that, Julius Malema believes that money should move from government to the institution and from the institution straight to the student. This thing of having NSFAS as a middleman must be scrapped up, because it's not differing from the issue that we once transpired had of Isaka. What's your take on that?
Well, you have to understand that in every process that happens, all parties are affected. How so? It was like that in previous years, where institutions were the ones that were disbursing funds, and students were getting money at the right time. You understand? Students were getting money at the right time, but due to the fact of the pandemic, which is corruption, then NSFAS had to be, brought into the case to say, no, man, we are seeing a lot of problems, and this thing is it's collapsing the funds of the economy. Hence, at least we have to have NSFAS. So now I can agree with you, my brother, to say, I can agree with the man to say, let funds be given to the institution for disbursement, because students were cruising nicely. Students were receiving money at the rightful time. So now you have NSFAS delays, and there is a lot of transparency problems. So if the government has a problem with the institutions and how the institutions disburse money, why don't you fix that? Why would you include another party to fix the money of students?
Speaking about cruising nicely, in TUT Soshanguve, students are not cruising nicely precisely in your administration. There's an issue of students enrolled in TUT, but basically they're still reflected as they're still in TVET. That's why they're not receiving their allowances. What's your take on that? How is that process going?
Well, that group is a group that I have been following on in terms of their emancipation in that area, and so far we are doing well, but slowly so, due to the fact that even though I passed in making sure that this thing can be resoluted on, an approval and also a decisive administration has to come from the NSFAS and also the TUT officials and stakeholders.
What's the cause of it?
Well, the reason why we have those kind of problems, it is because students applied at the open window of TVET colleges. And the NSFAS for the universities had closed. So an average student or an average person who wants to apply for NSFAS doesn't know that this is for TVET colleges. When they apply, Bona, they think, I'm applying for NSFAS that is going to fund the university. Because
but the NSFAS
mind that they have.
NSFAS has this thing of saying waiting for institution. So do you how do they does that thing happen? Because it automatically changes if you are in another institution.
Yes, those are called transitioning students or migrating students.
So they moved from TVET colleges to the institution.
Definitely. So remember, these are two groups. We have those that applied in the intentions of having a funding that will fund the university.
Yes.
Then we have those ones that are coming from TVET colleges. Those are two groups, right? But when NSFAS sees them, they see them as the same, because both of them are regarded as migrating, because it's like you're from an institution to another institution. So the problem in this thing, my brother, is that NSFAS is very much slow. And we have been stressing out to say, you know what, this stuff of NSFAS, it's even limited. You understand? It's limited in terms of attending unto students' needs. It's limited in terms of administration. It's limited even in terms of doing very simple things. I can assure you, you can call NSFAS right now. When you call NSFAS now, it will tell you are on caller number 120. It will count down, maybe you might for 2 hours, if you understand. When it gets to number 1, they hang up. You understand? So that then tells you that NSFAS is toying with students' needs. You understand? It's very much toying with student needs. And this is a list also of students that I have submitted. I think it was 105 students of this list. I submitted it to say, please see through that you assist. When we had a meeting, when we had a meeting with as a treasurer's committee, because we're doing a follow-up, because this is a problem in all of these campuses. It was then said that we have low chances of having this thing resoluted. Then I saw it to say, hey, we have a problem here. I had to go to financial aid office to say, assist the students. You understand? And the institution said, no, it's not the fault of the institution. It's their fault. But my question was, why wasn't it communicated that these kind of things are happening so the students can be on the lookout? You understand? So we are waiting for feedback this Monday. That is the communication that I received. We're waiting for feedback, and we are hoping that it's going to be well. But if it's not well, something has to be done.
Also, to touch on that, there are students who applied last year, September, who are returning students, but those ones who applied on January received their allowances recently. How did that happen?
Well, as I said, my brother, that the management somehow has questions. We have questions that I don't think we are even finding answers, because I can assure you, my brother, that the referendum of the institution and the way the institution has to administrate things, it's way more different than what it is happening right now. And to your surprise, nothing is being communicated. So, and as an average SRC member, you read your constitution and you read the policy of NSFAS, but when you come to the ground, you then realize that there are things that are not being done right. As to why, you will never find responses. So those are students, and that is the list that I have submitted. I think it's 54 that I have submitted so far. And the communication that I received from the management, I think I sent to the Mam Rivoni, Miss Molife, right? And she said she is off office, right? I should redirect my inquiry to the practitioner of SGLD, and I did that. I haven't got a response. I'm waiting for a response, but however, we are following so that we can get a satisfying response so that we can feedback the masses.
I know you're a busy man, you still have to go to prepare yourself. It's Easter.
No, so, I love God myself.
So we're running into these questions. Also, there are students who are getting kicked out from their residences because they haven't received their accommodation allowances. In your portfolio, what have you done around those sentimentals?
Well, the email that I sent, it was to plead with the institution to say the institution knows that this problem that these students are facing, it's not their fault, because you are not capable in running allowances and administering those allowances. This is the fault of NSFAS. So what has to happen now? Then the communication that we then received back was to say, TUT has spoken to all accredited residencies that are accredited by TUT to say there is no student that should be kicked out of RES because this is a problem not of a student but of NSFAS. In Obervele, you have got some of the RESs that are unruly, and it's being taken care of. Those RESs, I can assure you, they are being taken care of because there is no RES that is going to kick out our students when communication has been made not to do so, whereas we are the ones who have created the RES. Definitely.
So also you once alluded at that saying that Kabel, or one of the EFF comrades or members, say in EFF YC, now known as the EFF SC, is saying is the president and also controlling the president of Umkhonto weSizwe. What was your take on that?
No. Those were that was a joke. That was a joke description, and I will tell you why.
Of saying Kabel is also the president of Soshanguve.
And I know he's not a president. He's a president in his mind. He's not a president. What I can tell you, my brother, is that structures are failing students due to the fact that they are deploying people who don't know what to do, how to do it, and when to do it.
Including SEO.
No. We're moving very well. We're moving very well, my brother. My office is doing very, 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 very well. Definitely.
It's just the EFF YC and Umkhonto weSizwe and others like SASCO.
My brother, most of the times when I'm asked these questions, I would like to approach these questions head on due to the fact that this is a reality that is happening right now. To say, and we are not throwing stones, and we don't have personal vendettas against anyone. But the honest fact is that our president is being controlled by a structure that did not even deploy him.
Which structure is that?
That is the EFF. It's very much clear. It's the EFF. You understand? So, my brother, and I'm saying...
But you just said those are just jokes.
No. I'm saying in terms of him being the president. He is not the president. If I say he is the president factually, it means then I will be saying he's the president even over me, which is not true. He is the president of the president, not ours. So...
Which president is that?
The deployed president by MK. Simple. So that is what is happening. You understand? And students' problems are not being sorted out because an MK deployee is being controlled by is being controlled by EFF. And when they are being controlled by EFF, these people, they are pushing what? The agenda of EFF. What about the agendas of their structures? What does that answer to the needs of students? So that tells you that we have a president that doesn't have a big bone.
I have to let you go. I want to ask, what is the vision and the mission of SEO this year, since we are approaching the 2025 to 2026 SRC elections?
Well, we are doing well, and we are very much proud of ourselves. And the vision remains clear and vivid, my brother, on that regard. And one of the things that we wanted to achieve, we have achieved them this year, which includes paying for some of the students' fees. You understand? But I won't dwell much on that. I was just trying to show you that these are things that we are championing. So we aim to achieve more, and our desire is not that one of power mongers. Our desire is to serve students with integrity, and sympathy. You understand? So we wish this year to acquire more than 2 seats. And the reason behind that, it is because we saw the failure of these other structures. You have been given power and you promise students that you will do this and that. But even now, students are still crying about something that you can even resolute due to the fact that you are majority in seats. So as SCO, we are proud to say we don't have a competition. We are a competition of ourselves due to the fact that we are being driven by vision. We're not driven by the inspiration of power mongering. And so ours is very much simple. It's to make sure that we continue with our principles and values for the sake of students, so that the institution in its entirety can be taken care of and can head into a right direction, which is from good to great.
No, thank you so much, Talifhani, for joining us in Live Seasons TV. That is the treasurer of Csrc in TUT Soshanguve, Talifhani, who's hoping to get more than 1 seat since we are approaching the 2025-2026 SRC election. My name is Lee, and this is Live Seasons. What it is in what will be. Thank you.
I can't even see my price today. Niggas been thinking for eyes today. Never been thinking for price today. Let me season me. I couldn't think about scrutiny. I make my flame of my business. I'm a brand of my business. Let me season me. I couldn't think about scrutiny. I make my flame of my business. I'm a brand of my business. I don't smoke.